fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Shinsho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, Izuku Midoriya, he has gone out to Night agency to train with him and actually take part in his basic, internship, since he is technically still enrolled in UA High School. His mom did sign off on the permission slip, albeit knowing that Midoriya, she would not be able to stop him. Now, with that being said, Midoriya is currently almost to Night agency, while we do have Katie McKenna, our tomboy, who has proved herself quite resourceful in the UA Sports Festival. When it came to the race portion, she was able to slow down Todoroki right before he did cause the blast that covered the entire tunnel. And she was able to win the actual race since Bakugo and Todoroki were having their own little petty squabble against one another. And then there actually was the Cavalry Battle. Katie's team, they did lose the 10 million point headband, but they did make up for it by snagging a few other people's headbands along the way. And now, we actually do have a small intermission before the combat portion, where Ochako, Kendo, Katie, and some of the other girls of Class 1A actually are going out to get some lunch, since they are trying to clear the grounds and get everything set up. Now, everyone is talking, and Katie, Ochako, Jiro, and Kendo, they actually did get some food from the stands around the area, while the other girls, they actually did at least look around and see if there was anything interesting to buy. Momo, obviously at least having a snack after the Cavalry Battle, since she is going to need to be full, especially if she's going to have to create and use her quirk. Now, Katie, she actually is munching down on her food, as they are all at least sitting around each other in a circle and talking. Somebody at least pointing out that Katie, she was quite resourceful. However, why did she break Todoroki's nose? Kendo actually laughing as she does actually say, did she really do that? Yeah, she did, I saw it. You can't be serious, McKenna, Jiro would go on stating, talking about how she's pretty ballsy. Yeah, I know. Besides, I was right next to the guy, he would have got me with that. I don't think he was trying to get you with that, McKenna. He was trying to get everyone, wasn't he? Yeah, well, he fucking missed. Katie would go on stating. Now, everyone would begin talking a bit more. And further down the line, we actually do have Kendo, who does change the topic. Her wanting to get a bit more insight as to Katie and Midoriya's relationship, as she does ask all the girls if there's anyone in Class 1A that they all do like. Now, Katie, she does actually at least perk up at this conversation. Different names being thrown out there. However, as soon as she actually does hear Midoriya, she almost does choke on her food, as she quickly at least cough it up and talk about what does she mean Midoriya? Oh, Katie, you're finally... Are you okay? I'll be fine. But what do you mean about Izuku? Oh, that's right, you're on a first-name basis with him. Well, I have my own question. So, exactly what's your relationship with him? Hmm? That's none of your business. Really? Oh, come on. We're all girls here. Besides, I don't think anyone's gonna say anything. Hmm? Yeah, come on, McKenna. What? Are you guys even dating? Well, we... No, we're not. She says in a somewhat shaky voice, thinking for a second. Her and Midoriya never did talk about that, did they? There was just that kiss in the hospital. Her bringing her fingers up to her lips, and her face does turn red. As we actually have Mina, who does ask exactly how far has she gone with him. Everyone looking over at her. Katie, her face still bright red, saying that they haven't gotten anywhere. Hmm? So he's single then? Because he is a pretty nice looking guy. Now, Mina would at least nudge Jiro on her shoulder, and ask her if she remembers seeing Midoriya back in the locker room, whenever McKenna punched a hole in the wall. Her saying that she apologized for that. Yeah, you did. But still, the little pervert looked at us. Then again, so did Izuku. You don't know. He did see you while you were... I don't want to hear it! Now, we actually have Momo, who says that he did have a pretty muscular body. In fact, plus he's the strongest in the class. And now that she's thinking about it, he is kind of cute. Now, they're all just teasing Katie. Her actually getting a bit angry and saying that fine, she'll admit it, they kissed. Is that what they want to hear? All of them at least looking over at McKenna, asking about the details. Her simply just explaining. It happened whenever the night Midori was in the hospital. He woke up and she was there. She wanted to be there for her best friend. And, well, he was so devastated and broken. It was a surprise he was able to move. What? But I thought he left the hospital in a wheelchair. I mean, he did, but he jumped up and his adrenaline was just so high. And then he was on a bunch of painkillers too. Hmm? Really? He was? Yeah. Well, I tried comforting him. And I may have admitted to almost giving him a confession. But then we kinda just. Her being cut off by Mina just saying that they both kissed, didn't they? And saying that was it a quick one, or did it take a minute? Katie throwing her head down into her legs, as she would just hold up 3 fingers. All of them starting to laugh, a little bit. As Katie does say that it's not very funny. Hmm? Okay, well then why don't you just give Midoriya a call? Huh? Call him right now? But he's heading out to Sir Night-Eye's agency. Hmm? Sir Night-Eye? Why is he heading there? I mean, well, he's just very busy, you know? Hmm? Well, now I'm interested to know. All of them at least trying to get Katie to call Midoriya. And eventually, Katie does cave. Ironically. As she does dial his phone number. And about after two seconds of letting it ring, it finally does at least answer. Midoriya picking up the phone. Hello? Hey, Midoriya, or Izuku, how are you? Hmm? Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just walking down the street. Huh? Yeah, I just got into town. Really? So, was the ride out there alright? Yeah, it was. But what's up with you, though? Are you alright? Did everything go okay? Hmm? Yeah, I actually won the foot race. Really? That's awesome. Yeah, and I kind of lost the cavalry battle. I didn't get first. Hmm? Alright, but you're still gonna be in the finals, right? I mean, yeah, but it does suck. Hmm. Yeah, it does. So what's up? Mina actually at least walking over and grabbing the phone out of Katie's hand, putting it on speaker as they play keep away. Mina asking Zuko exactly how long has he known Katie. As Katie, she actually is trying to get her phone back from Mina. Midoriya answering the question. He's known her for about almost 12 years. That's surprising everyone. Katie actually saying in English that he should not answer their questions. Midoriya responding back in English that, well, why? Everyone looking at them confused, except for Momo, who does go on stating that they can't even escape their questions if they speak a different language. Katie looking over at Momo, along with everyone else. Momo then asking a question in English that is a bit more direct. Are they dating? Midoriya responding that that's a bit iffy, actually. He kind of doesn't know. Momo having a weird look come on her face. As she looks back at Katie, and Katie, she actually is, well, finally had enough. Jabbing Mina on her side as she actually does go down to grab her side. Dropping Katie's phone as she does pick it up. Telling Midoriya in English that if they're not dating, then they should go out at least. Momo actually at least laughing a bit. All the other girls looking at her. As Midoriya just says sure, they can go out. Hell, where will we go though? Now, Katie, she does hang up the phone, as she's heavily embarrassed and she cannot deal with this. Her then quickly walking away, as we do have the combat portion of the sports festival. Alright, now, for the first match, we do have a bit of a problem. Midoriya is not there. So, let's say that it's Mina versus Shinsho. And Mina would be warned by Ojiro before the match does begin about Shinsho's quirk. However, after she does walk out and go to actually face off against Shinsho, she doesn't really take the warning very seriously. And Shinsho does try and insult her. Her just saying that that did seem very mean before being brainwashed and walking out of the ring. The next match. Todoroki versus Sero. Todoroki ending it pretty quickly. And then there is Ibarra versus Denki. Ibarra does win the match, and Denki does lose. He did try to show off a bit more to try and impress a girl. However, that did not work. Ida versus May. Ida is turned into a walking advertisement, and Katie does actually get a bit of a kick out of this. Talking about how nothing ever really goes that guy's way, does it? Now, there is then the next match, where it is actually Katie versus Kenda. Now, with that being said, these two do actually face off against one another. And we do actually have Bakugo, who does think this can be an interesting matchup, as the two would begin their battle. Katie quickly at least going to build up her combo. Her bringing her hands closer to the floor as she simply just starts tapping away at them. And she actually does build up a 5 combo, as the next tap she actually does puts a crack in the concrete. As she does the same thing for her left hand. As Kenda would try and rush her. Katie doing the exact same thing. As Kendo does throw out back her hand and go to throw it outwards in front of her, enlarging her fist as Katie does go to smash directly into her fist as well. As soon as the two do have their forces collide, Katie, she just still stands there, with her hand outstretched as she absorbed the entire amount of force Kendo tried to throw at her. Katie then at least smashing her fist into Kendo's hand, and knocking her backwards. As it does actually happen, Katie does go on an assault, her throwing fist after fist directly into this large hand. And Kendo, she does try and at least go to de-large her hand and back away, as she does actually try and shake it off. Katie going completely on the offensive, and throwing fist after fist after fist, before being able to actually land a solid hit directly on Ibarra's shoulder. And Kendo does actually feel the impact, as it hurt quite a bit. Her bringing her hand to try and hold her shoulder as she's socked directly in the stomach and gets sent flying out of the ring. Now, the moment that does actually happen, Katie, she does actually just stand there with her fist outwards and someone just throw up her left hand, talking about, yeah, she did it, and that was awesome. Now, people do watch on. This girl has a very fiery spirit to her, doesn't she? Then there's the next match. Tokoyami versus Momo. Tokoyami wins. The next match. Tetsu versus Kirishima. I do want to say that Kirishima, he does actually at least win here. And he doesn't have to arm wrestle Tetsu. Ever since he's gotten into UA, he has been trying to train a bit more. And he didn't want to show off during the match. He saw Deku and his drive and determination, so he's actually been getting a little bit extra more training in to try and toughen up his skin. He would actually be able to take the last blow, and as Tetsu does fall, he does still stand there. Him winning. Ochako versus Bakugo. Ochako, she's nervous, and she did actually try to face against Bakugo with a little bit of confidence. And then there are the girls in the stand. As Ochako is in the ring, they're all cheering her on. Katie telling her one simple trick. Once she gets close, aim for Bakugo's wrist. Bakugo turning to the stands and shouting that she shouldn't have told her that, and that she couldn't even get close to him if she tried. Ochako getting angry, and she was trying to be a bit more aggressive during the match. Her actually almost getting in close and touching Bakugo by one of his wrists. Bakugo actually blasting his hand, as she does actually get smacked. Now, Bakugo does still win, but at one point in the match, it looked like Bakugo, he just pulled a dirty trick. So, that does happen. The next match, Shinsho versus Todoroki. What do you expect? Shinsho would lose. And then there is the next match. Ibarra versus Ida. Ida would lose. Ibarra being able to at least trip him while he's trying to run around the ring. And if she couldn't trip him, she would make traps that he would possibly even step in. And then there is the next match. Katie versus Tokoyami. Now, Katie, she does know that Tokoyami is going to be a bit more hard to beat. She's basically facing off against two opponents. Tokoyami does sometimes rely on Dark Shadow. He doesn't seem very physically strong. Yes, he's a bit more muscular for his size, but not that much. So, there is what does happen. Whenever they do get into the ring, Katie, she just does tell Tokoyami that this is nothing personal, and that with all due respect, she is sorry for it. Tokoyami saying the exact same thing, talking about how he is here to win, and he will not go easy on her. Her saying good, bringing up her hand and cocking back her fist. As she does actually throw it forward, she opens up into a palm. As the force she throws out is from her and Kendo's fight. The force of that giant fist hitting her own. She sends directly to Tokoyami in a small bullet or small ball of air, the size of her own palm. Now, Tokoyami, he's blindsided. Darkshadow tried to move while he was stationary, him being hit directly in the chest and actually breaking a few ribs as he says flying out of the ring, her still holding her hand up. And surprising a lot of people. Was that a second quirk? Now, we actually do have Mr. Aizawa, who does go on stating that actually that is not a second quirk mic. That girl down there, her quirk is very similar to another UA student. In fact, it's quite strange. Her quirk allows her to basically do two things. Consecutive blow. For every hit she has landed on somebody, she can double the power behind it. However, with all that force she has built up, it does have to go somewhere. And that is where the second ability of her quirk does come in. She's able to release the force behind every one of those hits, or the double force directly from within her body. The same reason why she stepped on a landmine earlier and she didn't even get blown away, along with what they did see earlier with her match against the other UA student known as Kenda. Now, Todoroki, he's confused. That looked like wind pressure. And the same exact way Midoriya beat the Nomu. How is that possible? Wait, does she have a similar quirk? I need to ask her that question later and then figure out what that is. Now, the next match. Kirishima versus Bakugo. Kirishima's gets flung out of the ring and loses. As we do have the next match. Todoroki versus Ida. Todoroki wins again. Ida being frozen and his engines being stalled. As we do have the semi-final match. Bakugo versus Katie. As these two, they actually both step into the ring and are smiling a bit more sadistically. Now, at this point, Midoriya has gotten a certain at his agency, and a lot of people are watching the sports festival. Him actually taking a seat and commenting that he finally made it, and that he did actually miss a few of her matches. You know her, kid? Yeah, I do. That's my friend. Which one? I mean, technically both. Oh. Well, that sucks. The man looking back towards the TV. As we do have back at UA and in the ring. These two are both facing off. Katie talking about how he wouldn't just want to do a straight out fist fight, would he? No, that'd be embarrassing. Yeah, for you. Please. If I wanted to kick your ass just barehanded, I'd at least do a little bit more. Then throw a solid punch. Yeah. Anyways, let's go, alright? Bakugo shouting, fine, as he does fly forwards, and go to try and throw an explosion directly at Katie. Katie dodging out of the way as she throws one solid punch at Bakugo, hitting him and actually surprising him, as she actually does throw her hands down towards the ring. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As she does get back up and run towards Bakugo. As he does go to throw out an explosion with his right hand. Katie retaliating by with her right hand, she actually does stomp down with her right leg and throw her fist clean upwards into the air, releasing the force of his own explosion that she did just absorb. Bakugo's right hand, it does actually throw it outwards, being caught off guard. As it does actually fly upwards towards the air, and he does actually try and stumble backwards to try and catch his own bearing. Katie coming in and actually smashing him directly in the face. Bakugo being sent flying, as he just broke his nose, and does have a concussion. As he does go flying backwards, he does throw up his hands. As he does actually just blast himself back in. As he does land on the ring floor, he does get back up, talking about how she's a bitch. As he would actually then do a howitzer impact. Now, people do watch Bakugo fly up into the air and build up speed. As Katie, she actually does tap down on the ground more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And she just keeps tapping on the ground with her fist. People watching the ring visibly crack as she does break a single tile with just one little punch. And she does actually throw up both her hands to try and catch Bakugo. Bakugo coming in and giving a full force howitzer impact as Katie does actually somewhat grab just in time with her hand. Bakugo letting out an explosion directly at her face as she did at least catch one hand. Now, the blast actually does hurt Katie a bit. And Bakugo did actually get her in her face, hurting her jaw, her nose, and well, her cheekbones. However, Katie just retaliates, throwing one solid punch and blow into his side. Bakugo actually spitting up blood, as Katie would then go bring up her hand and blasting out wind pressure. Bakugo being sent flying out towards the end of the ring, as he just goes to throw his hands back outwards and blast himself back in. Katie running forward does actually do so, as she was sent a solid uppercut right into his face, and he is sent flying upwards and into the stands, landing into a few people. As the pro hero who caught him does actually tell the kid, is he alright? Is he alright? Hello? Kid? Shit, she knocked him out. Her throwing her hands up, and being a bit more proud. However, there is her wardrobe. Her left pant leg is destroyed. Her pants are scorched, and so is her top. And she actually does have a bit more visible damage on it, since her collar does look burned, and her face does have a bit of scratches on it as well. Her walking out of the ring, as they do have a small intermission to repair it. And Todoroki does actually bring up the question to Katie while they are doing that. What is the problem that he's seeing going on? What are you talking about? I don't understand it. Your quirk and Midoriya's, they're weird. Then there's the USJ. Midoriya had 3 quirks. Yeah, and? So, I want to know. I want to know what that was all about, McKenna. Can you enlighten me? You knew the guy for the longest, right? Huh? Yeah, I did. Honestly, I don't really know. Her obviously lying. As she then does actually continue talking. As Todoroki does finally bring up his question. Midoriya's first quirk, his enhancement ability or whatever it was, it does seem similar to All Might's, doesn't you think? Well, I mean, kinda? I don't exactly know what you're getting at, though. Well, I mean, is he, well, All Might's son? What? No, he's not. What made you think that? Well, I mean, the way All Might's quirk is, right? He manipulates wind through shockwaves or whatever, and he moves super fast. Roy did the same thing, but to a greater extent. Do you get what I'm saying? Kinda, yeah. So then, is he All Might's? No, he isn't. Hell, his dad just got back into town. Do you want me to show you a picture of him? Huh? You have one? What? No. Listen, All Might, as far as I know, he doesn't have kids. Even then, even if he did, Midoriya, he doesn't look like him. Her then walking away. Todoroki there left to ponder. Does Midoriya dye his hair then? Now, with that being said, there is the final matchup. where Katie and Todoroki do face off. Katie staying low towards the ground, as she's tapping her fist against the ground as she does actually here begin. Todoroki going to end this with simply his ice. Now, as he does do that, Katie would throw out her fist, being able to punch into the ice as it does actually wrap around the rest of her body, as she's stuck in an entire barrier of it. The same way that Sero was caught, except to a greater extent, it completely covering most of her body. As President Mike does go to call the match. However, Katie, as she's still inside the block, she's punching away at it, throwing her fist up in the air and throwing it down, over and over until she's able to free her other hand, her then punching away more, and more, until she does eventually finally come breaking through the other end of the ice. And Todoroki is shocked, as when she did actually punch through, she blew away some of the wind. And she did tell Todoroki that was pretty impressive. But it was very cold. How did you? Don't you forget my quirk? Besides, you really think that would have stopped me? You were impressive, McKenna. But even then, him then going to do the same thing. Her cocking back her hand and throwing it forwards, smashing into his ice. As she does actually blow it away. Her force being doubled this time, as she continues to blast away at his ice as she's running towards him. Now, Todoroki does tell McKenna that she's not going to win. Her actually trying to blast away Todoroki with one of these blasts she can use of air. Him actually almost getting hit by it, and watching as it does fly past him and smash into the wall behind him. Him looking at that and actually getting his left side a bit more fired up. Her running in and telling him that he is going to have to use that quirk. Him trying to retaliate with more ice. However, Katie just starts blowing away at it over and over again more. Todoroki, he's panicking, and just blasting ice away at her. As McKenna, she's doubling more and more. Her 50 combo doubling, and going up to 70. As she's still going. Now, at this point, her hands are hurting. And whenever she does actually throw a left hook, she smashes into the ice, completely blowing it away. People watching Katie as her hand is covered in blood. The skin on her knuckles completely busted, along with at least her wrist somewhat hurts. Her shaking it off as she tells Todoroki that if she keeps going, she's gonna destroy this entire ring. McKenna, don't get too overconfident. Her looking at him, and bringing her hand up as she smashes it down towards the ground. Everyone watching as the stadium does somewhat shake a little bit, along with her blowing away the wind underneath her, almost sweeping Todoroki off of his feet. As he does look at his right hand, completely covered in ice. He's slowing down. Shit. I won't lose here. Katie yelling that if he is going to bitch about that, to just use his other quirk. And that she doesn't give a fuck what he's gone through. That if he doesn't use his fire, then he's going to lose here. And then what? No one will accept him as a pro if he's only going at half his power, while everyone else is trying their absolute hardest. Now, this doesn't encourage Todoroki. It pisses him off. Him retaliating with his flames. As Katie, she does actually bring up both of her hands and blast away the flames. Todoroki being quite surprised, as he does actually go to do his absolute zero move. Katie actually standing her ground and just bringing both of her hands up, as she does come up with her own special move on the spot. What happens is she puts both of her quirk's abilities together, throwing up her hands and then throwing them outwards. as Todoroki does send his blast directly at her smashing her hands together and releasing all the power. Now, her 75 combo, along with the force of all of the impact she's gone through, yeah, this is not in a bow. The entire arena, it's blasted, and pro heroes do try and step in, as they do try to find these two students. Now, I do want to say Todoroki does still win. He's still in the ring. And then there is Katie. She was found outside the ring. And then she actually was able to stand back up onto her feet a bit. As she would look up and point at Todoroki, saying that they're not done here. Todoroki looking her way as he actually does have his eyes widen, before he does just turn around. Katie quite confused, as she goes to actually look at her sleeve, which is gone. She then would look down, and go to cover herself, calling Todoroki a pervert. As a pro hero would actually jump out of the stands and throw their cape to her, telling her to simply cover herself. Now, with that being said, Katie, she places second place overall in the sports festival, Todoroki first, and Bakugo third. And, well, I will be going over internships in the next part, along with what will then be happening. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.